Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. My name is Khalil Meek. I am one of the founders and the current executive director of an organization called the Muslim Legal Fund of America. And the Muslim Legal Fund is a charity that helps Muslims face legal challenges. We're a legal fund, we're not a law firm. What we do is we raise money, we collect money from Muslims all over the United States. And with the money we collect, we hire attorneys to defend Muslims in the courts. So we spend the money on attorneys. We're a public cause charitable legal fund, which means that we serve the needs of the community as a charity. If the community has a case that they think, like Summer said, that some kind of case is a political case where the nature of the charges don't fit the character of the person, we could open a legal fund and hire the best lawyers, the best experts, have the most resources to provide an opportunity for our community to have their side of the story presented in a very powerful way in court. As a charity, you may be familiar with some of the cases that we've taken over the last 10 or 11 years, since 2001, based in Dallas, Texas. We've been funding cases that we think have the greatest impact on the Muslim community. Some of these cases you may be familiar with. How many of you are familiar with the Irvine 11? In Irvine, California. We funded the 11 students when they spoke truth to power. How many of you have heard of the Holy Land Foundation? The largest Muslim charity in the U.S., right, was prosecuted for feeding children. The government said they fed them the wrong way. How many of you have heard of Dr. Afia Siddiqui, the Pakistani woman who graduated from MIT, Brandeis University, went missing for 6 years? She shows up and she is allegedly accused of attacking her captors. How many of you have heard of Dr. Sami El-Arian? Yeah, he was the first test case against the Patriot Act after 9/11, and the government spent $50 million trying to say that he was, the worst person in the United States. And after an extensive trial, they weren't able to get one guilty verdict. We have cases like the 6 Imams case. The Muslim Legal Fund, when we talk about protecting civil rights, civil liberties, there's another organization called CARE that does the work of the Muslim community in civil rights and civil liberties. And CARE has been doing this work since 1996, so a lot longer than the Muslim League Fund. We started in 2001. But we try not to compete with each other at all. In other words, if we have civil rights cases coming to our office, we defer them to CARE. We say that we think CARE should handle them because that's what they're set up for, and inshallah they'll do a very good job. But if somebody is accused of something, CARE doesn't do any criminal defense cases. CARE doesn't go to court to represent people in the court. And this is where the Muslim Legal Fund comes in. So we complement each other, and we've actually worked on cases together, like the 6 Imams case, flying while Muslim. We funded half of that case with CARE. We've got cases that have a very powerful impact on the Muslim community that all of us should be concerned about. One of the things that we just want to share in a few minutes today is that the work that we're doing is in response to what we consider to be the politics of fear. What we see as the government overreacting to circumstances and saying that, they're going to persecute the Muslim community to make everybody else feel good. But these persecutions, these political prosecutions are unjust, uncalled for, affecting many people in our community. 20 years ago, 2 years ago, I took Shehadeh as a Muslim in 1989 when I embraced Islam. And as an American embracing Islam, I loved this religion, I loved the community, I loved everything I learned about Muslims and Islam. And since 1989, I've seen our country vilify the Muslim community. And we have politics of fear in every direction that you turn. You go ahead and look at Fox News, or you turn on Peter King's hearings, anti-Sharia laws, the radical right, excessive security, surveillance issues, on and on and on. The Muslim community is going through a period today that can be analogous with other minorities in the past, but even not a minority, it's more like McCarthyism. How many of you know what McCarthyism is? When General MacArthur, after World War II, started prosecuting the communists, people they thought were communists, because you had the war on crime. It could be anybody. It could be a friend of yours. It could be your neighbor. It could be your your boss. It could be anybody who had any loose affiliation, any association, somebody just didn't like you. Right? They could make your life a living hell. And this is where we are today. We're in a McCarthyistic society towards the Muslim community. And we have cases that have nothing to do with criminal conduct. There's hundreds and hundreds of people who are being prosecuted today, and they never broke the law. They never had a speeding ticket, they paid their taxes, they raised their kids to be proud, patriotic Americans, and they have to face some of the most serious charges because the government is prosecuting them in a political fashion. They're doing things that are trying to criminalize humanitarian aid, free speech, education, advocacy, things that are noble in their conduct. The government is twisting that lawful behavior into some kind of criminal conspiracy. And we see these cases taking place all over the United States. The Muslim Legal Fund is responding to that. And like the brother said, hadn't heard about you in the last few years, but I heard the last year a lot about you. The Muslim Legal Fund is being called upon now as an organization that can respond to all the communities. So if you have issues here in San Francisco, we can open a legal fund. We can make it tax exempt, zakat eligible. We know the best people in the country that can take these cases. People that have the best experts, the best resources to tell our side of the story. We work with all the national organizations in civil rights and civil liberties, Muslim and non-Muslim. We have collaboration with the ACLU, the Center for Constitutional Rights, the Bill of Rights Defense Committee, the National Lawyers Guild, the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, all working with us. In fact, they tell me, Khalil, the issues that the Muslims are facing today are so serious that we want to make it our #1 issue. So they're not focused on other things. They're looking at what's taking place in the Muslim community and how the government is treating the Muslims and how the government is saying that in the name of security, we don't want to give you civil rights. We don't want to give you civil liberties. We don't want you to have due process. We want to have secret evidence, secret witnesses, anonymous experts, indefinite detentions. We want to be able to do anything we want to you. And they say this is crazy. And so they're looking at the Muslim community and saying, you guys look like us, to us like a canary in a coal mine. Anybody know what that means? A canary is a little yellow bird. And they say, we look like this little yellow bird in a cage. You know why? Because as a coal miner, if you're digging for coal underground, sometimes gases are released, right? And these gases, you can't smell them, you can't taste them. You breathe too much of the gas, it'll kill you. Coal miners have died from breathing this gas. But they found a solution. They said, you know what, if we take a little yellow bird, put him in a cage, take the bird with us down in the coal mine, right? The bird can't smell the gas. The bird can't taste the gas. The gas will kill the bird. But if you see the bird jumping and playing, no gas. You look up, he looks sick, wobbly, or he falls over, there's gas. It's time to get out. So the coal miners would use the bird as a warning device. The entire legal community is looking at the Muslims saying, you're the canary. If you fall over, that gas, it's coming for all of us. And we get it, right? We want to protect the principles that made this country great. And today, we're here to share with you our work. You have our books, you have our brochures, you can take a look at this. But it's this, what we want to communicate is that these issues are not just, theoretical on paper. Somebody's making an argument, it's dry. It affects families. It's tearing them apart. It's tearing communities apart. It's tearing leaders apart. It is really destroying the fabric of the Muslim community in a courtroom. And these people that have to face these challenges, they have no way to do it. How many of you have ever hired a lawyer? Anybody here hired a lawyer? How much do you pay them an hour?
300,
300?
500.
300, 500? Anywhere from $250 to about $750. If the government doesn't like your ideology, you pray too much, you're an effective communicator, you're an effective leader, you're an effective teacher, you're somebody who can galvanize the Muslim community, you get the government's attention and they want to make your life miserable, right? And they come up with some of these, what we call preemptive prosecutions or cases where you haven't broken the law, they just think that you have this potential to break the law. So they're going to prosecute you now before you do it. Right? They just don't like your way of thinking. That if you have one of these cases, right, it affects an imam, a leader, an activist, doesn't matter. How much do you think it costs to hire an attorney to defend you? You pay them by the hour. These cases usually take a year to a year and a half before they get to court. Why does it take so long? The defense attorney has to catch up with whatever the government's talking about. So they have this theory that you haven't broken the law, but you're in a conspiracy to do something. They don't like you, so they're prosecuting you. And your attorney has to catch up and spend 500 to 1,000 hours to prepare for court. 1,000 hours at $250 an hour is how much? $250,000. How many of us can afford an attorney if we need one in a case like this? Most none. So you can get a public defender. You can get somebody who will represent you, because the government will give you an attorney if you can't afford one. But who wants to go to court with a public defender when the government's accusing you of something that is the most serious in nature? Nobody. So communities everywhere are like, this is wrong. This is affecting our mom, our leaders, our activists. We want to help them. We want to help them. So they call the Muslim Legal Fund. We open a fund. We hire the best lawyers, the best experts. We have great results when we go to court with the best people. Some of the serious charges like a conspiracy to provide material support. We have 3 people in Miami, Florida. It's called the Imam's case. And they were funding a school in Pakistan, funding a madrasa that teaches kids Quran and Sunnah and all of the thing. And they've been doing it for 30 years. And they call this madrasa, right? And the students are Taliban. And in the language, a student is a Taliban. I don't know the language, but that's what they say. And because of their conversations with him, they're funding the Taliban back in there, so they're prosecuting them. And we just got 2 of the defendants released, acquitted. The judge says, "Let's go home." And there's 1 defendant left. We have cases where we have a sister, Linda Mahmoud. She was a Palestinian. She was born deaf. She was working at the Department of Defense for 20 years. She had the highest security clearance to do her job. She went and visited her family in Palestine. When she came back, the Department of Defense says, because of your international travels, we're revoking your security license. That means 20 years of her work, she's unemployed. We took her case, went to the hearing, argued that all she did was visit family. This isn't a crime. She was reinstated. She has her security clearance back. She is now back to work. We have cases like Mafana al-Hanuti, who was charged as being a spy of the Iraqi government, acting as an agent without a license. He prepares for court after a year and a half, and they drop everything and say, just plead guilty to a false statement in an interview, perjury count. Right? But they blow these cases up. They make everybody afraid. They make everybody want to run and hide, and there's nothing to them but politics. And it's the politics of fear, and it's the politics of tearing our families and our communities apart. So the Muslim Legal Fund wants to invite you to support the work that we do so that we can become stronger and stronger and better. And we've been doing this work for the last 10, 12 years. We are very well established, connected with the entire legal community, and we need your support. So today we have this event. It's not fundraising, but it is an appeal. You have our pledge cards. You have some information now about the organization. We ask that you are generous with us. Right? Be generous with us. Because we want to be here for San Francisco. We want to be here for California. We want to make a difference in anybody's life who has to deal with one of these political cases. And you can see by the work on the slides, the work that we're doing. I don't have enough time to go into a long lecture because we're kind of short on time. But I really want to impress that every dollar we get makes a huge difference. And we only can do the work, right, from the people who respond to our requests. Because what happens is, I get phone calls of people who are crying, and I need your help, and I don't know what to do, and I don't know where to go, and I can't afford an attorney, and my family is now destitute, and what can you do for me? Right? And I take some of those cases. My heart bleeds for them, but I can't take all of them. I have to say no to some people. I have to just refer them to an attorney because I can't afford it. We take as many cases as we can afford. We have like 14 to 17 cases right now that we're funding. But we can take more, we can do more, and we have positive results when we do. So inshallah, our appeal today is to fill out something, be generous with us. Put us on your zakat list, put us on your list of people that you care about, and let us make that difference on behalf of the community, for ourselves and our families. Jazakallah khair.
Can I, just one question?
Yes.
Just one. From what I'm reading from you, it's hard. So we are, all of us should share with this and help each other. But which is maybe a crazy question. If the government branches different branches that are taking our brothers to court, why we don't take the initiative and take the government to court? Is it doable or something you cannot do, or you cannot even lobby for it? So
You
maybe
need
if
to,
you have an
you
impact
can
on this-
take the government in a different way. You can attack what they're doing in legislation. They're passing laws that allow them this latitude, right? To be mean and be cruel and to have this much discretion in how they ruin people's lives. You need to go backwards to change the law. How many of you are familiar with the Patriot Act? Right? You know the Patriot Act? How many of you read it? Nobody, right? Inside the Patriot Act are laws that they're using to persecute the Muslim community. And these laws are so vague and so general that they can do anything that they think is right with immunity and then let you deal with it. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to win, but they can really ruin your life. They can put you through so much stress, turmoil, heartbreak, that it crushes you. And if you can have a community stand up, right, and a community gets behind you, then you can stand up to them. But we got to keep standing up like that until we can go back and say, this law sucks. This law needs to be changed. We don't want the NDAA. I don't have time to give a lecture on the NDAA, which is the National Defense Authorization Act, that gives the president the right. He said the military has the right now to detain any citizen anywhere, or any persons anywhere in the world, hold them. Our U.S. military can pick you up, put you in prison, hold you indefinitely, don't charge you with any crime, don't give you access to an attorney. It doesn't have to tell anybody they have you, including American citizens on American soil.
That's last year.
This is, last December. It's called the NDAA, and this is something that the entire civil rights, civil liberties community is up in arms. They're screaming, God, this is crazy. They're behind us. We're writing bills, and we're pushing this. But it comes to the people. If we just sleep, they don't care. They'll do it. If we stand up and say, no way are we going to have martial law, we see it all over the world. Everybody's trying to lift it off their heads, and we're sprinting for it. This is crazy. But we're sleeping. Everybody's asleep. They don't care. They want to go home. They want to do this. They want to shop. They want to have it. Tell us, nobody's galvanized. So the people that are galvanized, let us do your talking. Let us do your walking. Let us spearhead that effort. But we need support. We need the people to respond.
Thank you.
Okay, because